Freetown. The civil society group Budget Advocacy Network BAN don't end a 3-day training for journalists and civil society activists. We now for strengthening their abilities them in monitoring and reporting on financial management issues. Rabia Tumansari gets more.
This workshop is part of the different efforts them for capacitate journalists and civil rights activists with the knowledge on how to scrutinize government in borrowing and ensure say public debts are managed responsibly. And thus, now the African Development Bank being funded. This, according to Budget Advocacy Network, now because public debts are growing concern as alone, and it affects key sectors like health and education. And the country in steadfastness for lent money will continue to raise questions about debt transparency and management. Inside the 2025 report where Budget Advocacy Network Pulnado, for instance, shows say Salon Public accounts for 59% of the domestic revenue.
Well, as part of a grant from the African Development Bank to the Ministry of Finance, there is a component around strengthening the oversight role of stakeholders around public debts. And one component is the aspect of building the capacity of civil society and media to understand public debt, to understand the policies around public debt, to understand our country's situation around public debt, so that we'll be able to engage government constructively, we'll be able to hold government accountable on the management of public debt, and for also the media to be able to set the agenda to educate the public more informally around how public debt is being managed. The issues around what are the driving factor, how debt affects public social services like education, health. We go through a lot of modules and sub-modules around the whole issues around public debt, which have now equipped us to be able to really hold government account constructively on the policies around public debt. What are the triggers that is making our debt to go up? What are the issues around how debt have been managed? But more also, our role as civil society and media in terms of how do we hold government accountable on the use of public debts? Because mind you, those loans that are taken, at times it takes 10, 15, 20, 30 years to repay them. So if we do not ensure that those debts are utilized for the intended purpose, they will not be able to stimulate the economy, which will create a return in future for us to be able to pay all of those loans. So we have a responsibility, and the training is geared towards the training has given us that capacity for all to move a step ahead to engage and hold government accountable in a constructive manner around public debt information. From the 2025 budget, debt servicing alone take 59% of domestic revenue. So which means it's a concern, it's something that we should look into and ensure that the management is transparent, is accountable, and that the people are getting the required benefits from those loans.
For the Ministry of Finance, thinking about efforts by Budget Advocacy Network is essential for make the wider public understand about how public money then they manage them and they keep officials them on high operational alert.
And you have been able to understand that that is not bad. It is how it is managed. And we pointed out to you so many critical projects, which have come into existence because of that. So many roads, roads in connecting the north and to Freetown, the south and east to Freetown. These we are funded, and there are so many other energy sectors right across, okay? So it is better for you guys to come and sit with us so that we exchange ideas on how you could add value on debt management processes, referencing globally acceptable yardstick, principles, practices, and understanding.
For beneficiaries them thinking about training worthy and timely, journalists them like Khadija and Lawrence reinforce the need for transparency in the public sector management.
We start this training with Budget Advocacy Network and the Ministry of Finance with funding from World Bank, organized for CSOs them and journalists them, for giving a know-how on how for monitor, how for report on financial management issues then in the country. We get for do with debt management and all of that. So sometimes you So there are so many things where they teach we. There were so many issues where they teach we on how we can do research, on how we could go about the people and for ask the right people when it come to debt management and how much the country owe international institutions like IMF and how much IMF they contribute or how much say they get when it come to economic growth. And we also learn a lot about even how the media they report, what we for look out for, how for break down in them way the layman no go understand. So these are some of the issues where we look at. So I think are very important because you cannot report what you don't know. So as a media person, it was very important, even though we don't get training them like this before now. And I'm also hopeful that we'll get training them again, similar to this in the future, so that we will be able to relate well to within the happen. So man go feel say like way government they pay debt, you go feel say no more than the current government in fact now take that debt day. So it only depend on within the media they put out there for you to understand that some of them debts they are said then say you know burn it, or some of them debts here where government they pay for now this and this you don't do it then you go know whether the government involved in corruption or within political leaders them they do, or those in governance waiting they do with saloon money. Because members say where the government they go take them that here, you where they work, where they buy and tax. Now you money that they use for pay them debts in day. So it's only fair that people know who side the money they go. Because now only who side your money they go, you must for day.
Well, basically it's a refresher. Then again, of course, we'll learn pretty much new things then about debt sustainability, how to manage public debt, and also how to hold government accountable for the use of public debt. But much more importantly, now how we are able to advocate for greater transparency in the overall public debt portfolio. Well, to some extent, governments don't publish information on the Ministry of Finance website and in terms of the debt portfolio what we get, and but the ratification instruments them we government the contract then debts then the those information are not available to the public. Mind you, when governments go take law, we don't sign, cabinets don't prepare paper, it has to go through parliament for ratification, again for follow suit with the Attorney General's office for legal opinion and everything. Now that document which spells out the conditions of the loan and all other things we concerning that particular loan day, it is not readily available for public consumption, and that is one of the greatest challenge we have as public financial management and journalists. And so once you go see now the finance website, now the yearly or semi-annual yearly bulletin where they show almost debt salon gets and to do that and then stuff then they. But principally the main document where they give you the full context and picture of the debts, not available. Again, if you also want to go into the comprehensive data of a public debt will owe by country, to bilateral creditors, to multilateral creditors. Again, that full comprehensive disclosure is not there. So these are some of the challenges them will get, and these are some of the things them probably will they take home for begin see how best we can now begin for advocate for greater transparency. Again, the legal framework as well, we now regulate the debt. Public debt in Sierra Leone. We get the Public Debt Management Act, of course we get the strategy, medium-term debt strategy, and the debt sustainability analysis. All of those things, these are complex documents, and we, of course, to some extent, we don't open up now for level for understand them better.
For Sleek Television, Rabia Tumansari reporting.